Hello, and welcome back to the AL Central Rundown. I'm Eric, and with me today is Lee, Ty, Dan, and Sam. And other than an incredibly, well, I won't say incredibly big, but other than a big signing earlier in this week, there has really not been much because we are days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Some teams are actually reporting tomorrow. The Twins on the 12th, and so on and so forth. The Dodgers apparently on the 13th, which I just found out just before we hit record. But other than that, it's been pretty light on news. But just to recap, Framber Valdez just signed with the Tigers on Tuesday. Lee and I jumped on the next night and did a full hour on him. The highlights, the lowlights, what it kind of meant for the rotation, the payroll, all of that stuff. So if anybody is real jazzed to have Framber Valdez on the Tigers, go check that out. I thought it came off pretty good for something that we just kind of prepared for like 2 or 3 hours beforehand. And then, so yeah, why don't we just take a few minutes and just kind of do a brief recap? Lee, talk about Framber and what it kind of means for the rotation.
Yeah, so Framber Valdez signed with the Tigers for 3 years, $115 million, which is approximately $38 million a year AAV-wise. There is some deferred money. I think it's something like $20 million. I don't know the details.
Well, it was a $20 million signing bonus and then deferred money.
Yeah, the signing isn't official yet, so we don't necessarily have all the details. And then there was a player opt-out for year 3. And this is huge because with the Skubal arbitration, it also means that the Tigers' payroll increased by like $50 million in the span of about 24 hours. But we thought that the Tigers were going to sign another starting pitcher. I was thinking they were going for, we all thought they were going for a mid-tier pitcher for the words. They did not. They went and got the best available free agent still on the market. So pretty exciting about this. Not just because for the signing and what it means for the makeup of this team, but also what it means for the front office and what they are doing. Because they are spending money now. I mean, Scott Harris has been saying for a little while now that Chris Hillage is behind him and that they're going to spend when they are ready to compete. Now they are putting their money where their mouth is, $40 million a year worth of it. So pretty exciting for that.
Yeah, I think we figured out their payrolls at, well, their post-tax payroll is like 211, and I don't think anyone had the Tigers over 200 million for a payroll going into this year, and it just seemed to happen overnight. I think we all kind of suspected the other news that we'll talk about in a second was going to happen, but Framber coming out of nowhere, and suddenly the Tigers went from having a pretty terrible offseason to, well, now a good one, one signing. So they went from spending $20 million to add to their bullpen, and then, as we discussed in that episode, they weren't forced to give qualifying offers to Torres or Flaherty, but I think they were certainly expecting one of them to decline, at least. So I think for being kind of forced into what money they can spend, they did pretty well. So yes, just adding $40 million on top of what their already payroll was going to be, that's kind of a big deal. But the other increase to their payroll was Tarik Skubal. We talked about this about a month ago. His arbitration hearing came back, and just as we all suspected, he won. And that doesn't sound like it was particularly close. So Skubal jumps from $10 million a year to a record-breaking in 2 ways. $32 million is the highest last year of arbitration. He beat out Soto by $1 million. It beats a pitcher by David Price's pitching last year of ARB by, I think, $13 million. And then it also is the largest pay increase for a salary player or an arbitration player in history. So any thoughts on that? I know Lee and I talked about it a little bit on Wednesday, but for the rest of the group, Skubal won. Anyone surprised?
My thoughts, once again, I'm very about players being paid what they're worth. He deserves this money. He's gotten severely underpaid the last 2 years. He's earned this, in my opinion, and I'm glad. So not to bring the business aspect of this into the talks, but in terms of having that ceiling to know what does it take as a pitcher to make 32 in ARB, you have that bench line now.
Yep.
So if you're not him, but you're not, generic middle line pitcher, like you're able to at least try to find, well, what is it then? Like I've won one Cy Young prior to my final ARB year. I pitched how many games. So once again, I'm just really glad that we've set that benchmark, and I think it's legitimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two things for me real quick. One, I still can't believe Detroit didn't file like 22 million. I really think they would have won this case if they just would have gone a little bit higher than what David Price got a decade ago. And then secondarily, I kind of wonder if this has any implications for the CBA negotiations next year. I do think, maybe part of Boris's motivation here was to make the arbitration system even less palatable to the teams. And at least in one instance, he was successful in doing that. So I don't know. That's just something rattling around in the back of my mind.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the end of arbitration.
Ooh, and replaced with what?
Yeah, that's more my...
Because arbitration is the compromise for free agency and team control.
Right.
Like that's...
Unless they want to go to restricted free agency, like
Unless
the
they
NHL
want to go
and NBA do.
to restricted free agency or franchise tags like the NFL has.
Well, the
I
qualifying
could
offer,
see
is,
like
the
them.
qualifying offer is essentially a franchise tag.
I think what would be more likely is the 6th year might go to, like, it might be 5 years of control instead of 6.
Yeah,
could
that's
see
what I was
that.
thinking. I could see where they shave off a year of team control.
I think
Which for teams that depend upon young talent, that's painful.
there was I think the last time, maybe I'm making this up, but I want to say the last time somebody talked about like tweaking arbitration, it was all free agent players are free agents after age 27, and then it doesn't matter what your service time is, which would be interesting because then you're going to be seeing a hell of a lot more 18 and 19-year-olds called up.
Yeah.
I also feel like if you shorten the amount of team control, it also could result in a bunch of players not getting bigger contracts. Because, think about, especially pitchers. Pitchers will take so much longer to get to a point where they are going to be given a longer contract. Casey Mize is an example. If we said, hypothetically, team control was shut a year and he was a free agent right now, how much money would he be getting? Because he's got, 2 full seasons, 1 full season uninjured, and then he missed a season and a half from injury, and then the last 2 seasons have missed injuries, and then he wasn't looking great for a lot of it. How much would cutting down time for players to just be settled and get playing time before having to go to free agency?
I mean, that's essentially what arbitration figures out. Like, all arbitration is, it just gives you, it gives you modest increases, if we're being honest, until you get to your 5th year. And then by the time it gets to the 5th year, you should be earning just under what you would be earning as a pure free agent. So is the system perfect? No, not really. But I also don't know if there's anything I would think would be better than it. Maybe just saying, 10 years after you're drafted, you're a free agent, or after 27, you're a free agent. Like, you can maybe try it that way, but I don't know.
My only comment on it is, the only thing I could see if they started getting rid of arbitration contracts is it's just giving that flat whatever you're at this year, you get $4 million, and then all your incentive bases, those go, the amount of money you could earn in the contract goes up, per at bat or per whatever that is. Right. That's the only thing I could see.
I just think it would be really interesting to shave a year off, because on the one hand, a guy that debuted at 25 is now going to be on the market at 30 as opposed to 31. Everybody's a year younger, which means they're going to be a year more intriguing. They're going to be a year more appealing to teams. Alternatively, you're going to flood the market with more younger players, so that means there's more supply.
What is that? So why? I understand why the players would want that, but why would the owners agree to that? What would the players have to give up? Because that's obviously really in favor of the players. So the owners would want something massive.
I would have to figure they
having
would.
only 2 years of arbitration, maybe, like instead of having 3 years of
Arbitration only helps the club though, because the club can cut them at any time. They're not forced off for arbitration.
I don't know then.
So I don't know. I think this is probably like I'm gonna sound nerdy here, but when they were talking about the founding of America, they were all discussing, well, democracies are messy and they never work. And Ben Franklin said something to, well, democracy is the worst form of government, except for the rest. I think that's kind of where we're at with arbitration. Is it perfect? No. Is it probably as good as it's going to get? Maybe.
No arbitration without representation.
That's right. And if you're,
I only feel like with the Tigers obviously signing Valdez and with the Skubal news, I'm wondering if we won't see in this next week the Royals / Guardians making a corresponding move.
Yeah.
Because the payroll difference is now massive. Like, it was already kind of big if you just take the Skubal arbitration, but now it's Tigers' payroll is at 229. The Royals is the next highest at 180. That's a $50 million difference. The Guardians' entire payroll is like $96 million. Skubal and Valdez are making 71. Like, those are big differences. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see like a last minute addition, but I don't think we'll see anything like huge.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a signing though. It'll be a trade.
No, not a move.
Yeah.
Maybe the Royals will. I don't expect. Guardians fans, don't turn off podcast, please. I don't expect the Guardians to be doing anything at this point. I really don't. I think they've made their bed and they're going to stick to their plan.
Which is honestly really disappointing. I know Cleveland, you're kind of used to not spending money, but like you just won the division when, sorry, Dan, you shouldn't have.
Okay. I mean, we're not going to have that conversation again.
I know.
But I get your premise. I get your premise in that. This year bothers me more than last, actually, where they at least had some strategy to, they traded Jimenez, they traded Naylor, but they did it to fix a deficiency in the starting rotation. And so I could logically kind of work my way through that. This year, there's an entire lack of inaction other than a little bit of improving the bullpen. Right. When there was noticeable glaring things to improve outside of that and just inaction. So,
in the spirit of playing the younger guys.
Not to do a hot take, but I will say one of my first thoughts after they signed Valdez and Tarik won his arbitration case, I immediately thought the Guardians could do the same thing they did last year because the entire clubhouse collapses in the back half of the year. Just throwing that out.
That's in the back of my mind too, to be honest with you. Their clubhouse just got a lot more interesting, in my opinion, in Detroit. But I can't bank on that happening. You can't bank on that happening again.
And it wasn't clubhouse issues that caused the team to fall apart at the end of the year. And I think a lot of it was there were some injuries involved. Like Keith missed time, Green was playing a few stuff, Torres had the hernia. And then I think what happened was they started losing a few games in September. The Guardians started winning some games. They looked up and they said, holy shit, we're on the top of the American League and we're falling apart. And then they panicked because, I mean, it's still a really young team that we're looking at. Yeah, they at that point they had some playoff experience, but that was really, that was like really came out of nowhere, and they don't have a lot of veterans on there. I think it was just kind of a lot of it was so mental because, like, I mean, you look at what happened. It was a lot of mental errors on like base path and defense, and it was a lot of swinging and missing at like ridiculous pitches way out of the zone. Like, so I think a lot of it was mental, and like they know that they fall apart. There are no excuses. Like Torres was like on a podcast or an interview or something, and he said, "Yeah, we played bad baseball." Like they know that they had a problem. So I really don't think it was clubhouse issue.
And I will say my last comment on the whole thing is I do like the move for Valdez for Detroit because of even if it's not leadership, the veteran presence, the I've been here, done that, I think that does support their case overall.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's pitched in a lot of big games, right?
Yeah.
He's pitching World Series. And
well, that was going to be my point too, is like I know his World Series is very much tainted, but like,
He was there
he was
though,
in
and I did have
2022.
one last thought on this is I this is going to sound super hot takey and stupid. I don't think Detroit got that much better for 2026 with this, just because I don't think I see Ty's eyes get big. I don't think their rotation was the problem in 2026. Again, this team was like fifth and starter fit last year. But I do think 2027 and 2028 is what this is really about because they can lose Tarik Skubal now and still they have an ace on their in their rotation.
that's
So
why
I'm
I
not saying it doesn't help because it totally does help, but I'm just saying the valley is much grander for 27 and 28.
see. I was not high in their starting rotation, and just having Valdez, it does like because like, if Skubal, let's say Skubal would have missed like 2 months last year, that was suddenly a really bad starting rotation. Like I really didn't believe like Flaherty wasn't it. Mize had a hot streak, but he didn't finish all that. Like his overall stats were not all that great.
He had a really rough patch in like July, August, but
Right.
then was leveled out in September.
So like I like this just because it pushes everyone down. I like Flaherty as a number 4 option. I like that a lot. Flaherty as maybe your number 2 because Skubal's hurt because you don't have Valdez. That's where I like it. I feel like now it's one more. I don't know. It's one more pillow for the Tigers to have, and I'm a believer in their offense. I was not a believer in their starting rotation, and
I got For me, it's all about for me the big draw is the playoff rotation because okay, Dan, last week I think it was you asked me if Skubal wasn't there, who's starting Game 3 of the wild card series, and do you win that Game 1? I will turn this around and go back to you. If we had Framber Valdez pitching in Game 2, do you think the Guardians win that game? Because I think it just makes the playoff rotation so much better for the Tigers.
I'll say it this way, and this is again, I'm going to sound hot takey and stupid. I like our chances of beating Skubal better than I like our chances of beating Valdez. We've not been good against Valdez historically. We've seen Skubal a bunch of times. Um, for those reasons, and I'm not saying either of those chances are particularly high, but I actually think I'd like my chances more against Skubal
right.
just because we've seen him so often, and we've beat him before, and he's done stupid stuff on the field in front of us, so we think he's a little more human than everybody else does,
Oh,
I
I
think.
forgot that meltdown he had. Yeah.
Um, that being said, the most likely outcome of that series is probably a sweep for the Tigers. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I think it's about just if you starting a playoff series with Skubal 1 and Valdez 2, I think that's a lot better than what we were looking at
Yes.
before with Skubal 1 and Mize or Flaherty at 2. So I
I
think
agree with that.
I think that's a huge boost for us.
Yep.
I saw a lot of upset Guardians fans on Twitter after we signed Valdez. It was very fun to. 'Cause
Understandable.
I guess you don't have a lot of right-hand bats. I guess that's a thing.
We haven't had. I think Juan Gonzalez in 2001 was the last time we had a legitimate power threat right-handed hitter.
Mhm.
We thought it was going to be Franmil Reyes at one point, and that didn't work out. And yeah, so
Yeah, and I want to circle back and talk about Skubal arbitration hearing again because Dan, what you said with why didn't they just file at 22? That's the thing that I keep getting stuck on because they did offer like up to 24 and like before they filed and Boris turned it down and then they turn around and file at 15 less. So this full disclosure, this gets a little bit into conspiracy territory and it's unconfirmed, all that blah blah blah. But there is some stuff floating around that MLB told the Tigers to file at 19.
I don't
How
even
this-
think that's a conspiracy. I think like there's no reason for the Tigers to file in that low.
'Cause that's
Like
just
yes, they're
stupid.
tying it to precedent with David Price, but everyone knew. I don't even think that's a conspiracy. I think that's likely either other owners and or MLB was like, hey, maybe don't like give in to Skubal and let's just take it to arbitration and see what
But
happens.
it doesn't make sense. Like the Tigers, like they're not stupid, and I don't think you can say that they're cheap anymore. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like you could say, oh, it's the last year; they're just trying to save money if they can, but like they did offer more, and then they filed it so much less.
They knew they were going to lose, so they decided to roll the dice and see where the chips, lay. I mean, was there a 10% chance that the arbiter was going to rule in favor of the Tigers? I don't know. That's a 10% chance you save $13 million. I
Right.
mean,
No, and I think that's fair. You're asking, the risk was you're gonna spend $3 more million to do 22, or like 5 more million to do 24. Instead, you just lost 13.
yeah.
So I mean that was the risk, and like I think they were really banking on the pay increase being the reason the arbiter wouldn't pass it. Because there was no performance reason not to give Skubal $32 million. It was jumping from 10 million to 32 million. The Tigers were saying we can't afford that. Now maybe signing I'm sure the arbiter had their ruling made before they signed Valdez. But like if I'm the arbiter and I'm in between, and the Tigers are saying we're too broke to give Tarik Skubal $20 million, and then you look at ESPN and it's signed Framber for, okay, well, Skubal now.
I guess that deal with Valdez was not made in the 5 hours after the ARB hearing ended. Those were independent decisions. I know there was a joke going around, but like no, they didn't know the decision for that.
Is it possible that they waited to sign Valdez until after the hearing purposefully so that that contract couldn't be used in the hearing?
Yeah.
Like,
or it was like a
you know,
PR thing, right? Like
looking
more
at it the other way around.
PR battle in terms of like, oh, the Tigers are cheap, they're not offering enough. They offered this really poor contract before, and maybe it was oh well, we're gonna give this guy all this money so that you can't say that we're being cheap on. Like I don't
Right.
know.
I think the Valdez thing kind of fell into their laps because like they weren't tied. Nobody was really tied to Valdez, but the Tigers.
There was one report about Tigers possibly signing Valdez if they won the ARB meeting. That was
right, but that was only a couple days before.
That was only a couple days before, and it was if they won the ARB meeting, which is why everyone thought that they won the ARB meeting after they signed him. And I did see some things on Twitter, which was pretty funny. There was like an article like, "Oh, best fits for Framber," and like Tigers were on that list.
Right.
I just know that because I saw a bunch of people like retweeting with like, "You can take us off because we're not going to spend that money," and then never mind, 18 hours later. Like, but yeah, there was really nothing linking with Tigers to Valdez here. It really did came out of nowhere, which is like kind of a theme for Harris. Like, you really do not hear anything about these before they come out,
Right.
except for Bregman, but that was different.
Okay, so for anyone else who would like more dirt on Framber Valdez, and at least Lee's and my thoughts, check the episode just before this one. Go click on that. It's right there. Couldn't be easier for you. But we do have, and actually, Ty has to leave here in just a couple of minutes. So, Ty, is there anything you want to get out before we move on to the next topic, or just kind of move on and you'll jump off when you need to?
Am I able to speak on just a few things WBC-wise for the White Sox?
Yes, preview.
Do you want to just go overall like what we're going to be talking about, or just jump into it?
Just jump into whatever you like.
So I just calling out, we are the White Sox do have several players. It seems like based on a list that I saw that we have the least amount of players in the division that are actually going into this WBC. I hope that changes for the next one. That thought aside, we have 2 players on Team Italy, 1 on Team Japan, 1 on Dominican Republic, 1 Australia, and 1 Cuba. I'd really love to start with Team Cuba. We have Alexei Ramirez, shortstop, who is currently 44 years old, retired. His last MLB game, I believe, was 2016. I love seeing this name as a White Sox fan. I will be watching a couple of Team Cuba games just to see him again. But it's very, very interesting that he's showing up. The one other side comment with Alexei, we do have our first announced our home run derby for all of for retired players only. I'm really hoping that he shows up this year to that. So that's my side comment on him. Team Australia, we have Curtis Mead. I'm interested to see how he does at that level. In the MLB level last year, we got him from Tampa Bay. I'm still kind of seeing what's going on with him. Sir Anthony Dominguez, I'm assuming a part of the reason why we were able to sign him is that we were, hey, you go do what you need to do for your country. Well, we'll be here when you're ready. Team Japan with Mune, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think that we all knew that was going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see him on the global stage there. And then I do want to call out with Team Italy having both Kyle Teal, who was our MLB level catcher, and then Sam Antonansi. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but 23 years old, Double-A shortstop. He's one of our top prospects right now, and it's just very interesting to see him being involved in the program at such a young age. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Murakami's played for Japan in the WBC before, but there's extra eyes on him because
100%.
A lot of major league pitching, not all major league pitching, because these teams are certainly not built the same.
Yes,
but that'll be.
I think it'll be an easier ramp up. I think that's kind of why I really like it for him, is to see him not just go spring training. Like, you're going spring training, you're going into WBC, and then we start our major league season. So
yeah. And he's likely. I mean, he might have been working out with the White Sox for a couple of weeks now, anyway. So
100%.
They've been ramping up. So
right.
Okay. Do you have a team that you're particularly cheering for? Are you going straight for Japan, or are you just cheering for whoever?
If Italy, it'll be U.S. first. Let's be honest. Italy, and then if Alexei and Team Cuba wins, I won't be mad. So.
Everyone's rooting for Team Italy.
There you go. So
I was about to say Dan is, apparently.
And with that, I appreciate everybody. We will see you on the next pod.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Later.
So,
All right, so we'll revisit the WBC in just a little bit, but we did actually some other news. It's not great news, but we did have an old friend pass away. Terrance Gore passed away yesterday at 34 years old, and he has one of the more unique MLB stories, at least, maybe in history. He had one elite tool, and for somebody who had 74 career at-bats, he has 3 World Series rings because he was faster than about anyone else in the world. So I thought we should at least talk about him for a little bit, because I think he's going to be a more memorable player than his Baseball Reference page would maybe make people think. So.
Yeah, I'll remember Terrance Gore for a minute here, and man, those teams in 2014 and 2015 for the Royals, if they were down by a run late in the game, or they needed one run late in the game and someone got on base, you knew who was coming in, and that was Terrance Gore. And Terrance Gore was a baseball player, but the thing that he did was not playing baseball. He ran track and field, and it just so happened to take place on a baseball field.
Yeah.
He was the type of guy who would, late in the season, teams would just sign him for their postseason run after his career with the Royals. And a couple things I'll always remember about him. One is that if you'll notice, he's always running with a pair of batting gloves in his hands. And I don't understand why he even had those, because it's not like he ever came to bat in the first place. So he would always run with the pair of batting gloves in his hands. And when you look at his reference page, what you'll notice is that he did not get his first big league hit until his 5th big league season. And I remember when this happened, he got a hit as a member of the Cubs in 2018. And I was watching this last night. He got a hit right up the middle, single up the middle, as a member of the Cubs late in a game. And of course, as you would imagine, the hit was against Max Scherzer.
Of course.
So that was his first big league hit, and that happened well into his big league career. So yeah, just a real shame. He apparently died due to, quote, complications from a routine medical procedure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to know what that means.
When they say that, it's usually like anesthesia issues, because we really don't understand how anesthesia works. And
I would imagine it would be something like that. So it's just a shame that 2015 Royals, won the World Series 11 years ago, and has already lost 2 members of that team. So really, really too bad, and a real shame, and a kind of a reminder, I guess, that anytime you're having an operation or anytime you're having a procedure, there is risk associated with that, and we should never take our health for granted, and we should never take the modern medicine is amazing, but we should never take that for granted, because things can happen. So I think RIP.
Yeah. We're pulling up is we're showing his highlights on the screen here, and I thought this one is particularly just to show off how fast he was. I believe I think Sam froze on us, but I think this was in the wild card game in 2014. He is on second, and it's just obviously a pitch, and it's just a little squibber up the second, and he's already, before the ball even hits the guy's glove, he's already around third. Like, this dude had outworldly speed. It looks like is this his singular home run in minor leagues? That's why they're showing it. That's funny. So he had some pop. What do you know? He had 1 home run, I think, in the minor leagues. So I did look. So he played 112 regular season games in his career. 66 were in September and October. That doesn't include the playoffs. And yeah, like I said, the one stat everyone will cite when they talk about Terrance Gore is he had 74 career regular season at bats, and he has 3 World Series rings, which is pretty efficient. Not a bad gig to have if you can get it. So
probably the best ratio of World Series rings to at bats.
At bats, outside of managers. But yeah, I mean, just a real bummer. I think he's going to be remembered. I mean, because him and Jared Dyson, I think, Dyson was a better player than he was, but I don't think you can have 2 faster players in one outfield than Dyson and Gore when they were out there. And then I even think the slowest person out there was, oh my goodness, he was a center fielder on that World Series team.
Lorenzo Cain.
Lorenzo Cain, right? So nothing is falling in that outfield if they were all out there, but Gore was in there just to do one thing, and that was to steal bases, and he did it well. So,
and the thing with Gore is not like he was just fast. He was also very smart on the base path itself. Being fast wouldn't get you very far if you keep running into outs.
Yeah,
reached base himself in his major league career 23 times, scored 33 times. An interesting way to look at it as well.
So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just kind of worth talking about him for, obviously, unfortunately, a final time. He'll certainly be remembered. So, yeah. Now we can talk about more fun baseball things, because this has been a topic we talked to about a month ago about the Tigers and Royals and 4 other teams were now free agents as far as their TV contract came up, and that has some resolution because it looks like Main Street Sports, formerly Diamond Sports, Bally Sports, FanDuel, whatever they're called this week, I think they're done. I think they're probably cooked by now. So it sounds like the Royals and the Tigers are going to be going to the MLB broadcast, which is much better for something that is gaining a corporate, like MLB is very corporate, obviously, but it's going to be less corporate going from FanDuel to that. So I'm excited for both of you. I don't know what your thoughts are, though.
I mean, I hope that it's a better product than what was presented through FanDuel TV, because that was one of the worst. Formerly Bally was one of the worst user interface experiences I've ever had. So hopefully this is a better product, And hopefully, I won't have to explain to my mother and my grandparents how to use this too many times this season.
Yeah, me and my dad need to figure out what we're doing because I have the MLB TV account, but my dad has the FanDuel account, and so if you have, because I have the auto subscription for MLB TV, like the out of market
Mhm.
package. So how will that work now if I need the Tigers package and that? Will all those like two separate purchases? Like how's that?
No, they'll do
I
like a
think
Tigers TV.
Yeah.
I don't know that we know how the distribution is going to work on this yet, just because of the ESPN purchase of MLB TV. My understanding of this until this week was that it was going to be whatever method you used last year, if you were involved, was going to be the exact same this year.
Mhm.
Now I've just started seeing some things online this year that suggest that perhaps you're going to need an ESPN Unlimited
Right.
subscription in order to get MLB TV. At least a free trial of ESPN Unlimited that they're hoping that you'll forget to cancel.
Right.
Uh, anyway, but at the same time, I don't know that that's substantiated either. The one thing, the move to these internet-based services has been generally a positive, but every single time nobody knows what's happening until like the day before, and
Yes.
it's very frustrating in that case. I do think if you have a cable package, for those that still have cable, I don't think your service is going to be different. I think they would be nuts to not want to have their games on cable television just because of
No.
the demographics of Major League Baseball.
They
But beyond that, I don't know at this
they will
point.
still have it, but like what you were talking about because the Twins and the Guardians went through this last year. I think it was 2 days before the regular season started, before MLB told you the channel you could watch your team on. And then you
Yes.
had to decide if that was, then you had to figure out if that was on your package or if you needed to upgrade. Like, and they waited until last minute. The Twins and the Guardians did not choose that, but that just sucks if you're a fan trying to figure out because like especially you basically okay grandma like you're gonna have to wait. I can't tell you what the channel it is, but instead of the Twins on DirecTV, it was 668. Well, now it'll be
Alternatively, if you have that channel right now, because it's on, it's just I don't know about you, Eric, but it's
right.
just I don't know if you can even see it because you're in New York. But it's just the logo, the Guardians logo, and some
Yep.
music playing over and over and over and over again until the end of time. I don't know why they don't show games from this past year or anything on there, but yeah. So
Do you know what they
So
show on that in Kansas City?
now what?
They show the Eric Hosmer podcast on that show
Oh,
or
nice.
on that channel all the time when there's no game going on.
So should I keep my auto subscription for MLB TV? Because like in 6 days, I should be getting an email like, "Oh, thank you for being a loyal subscriber. Here's your 30% discount." Should I be keeping that, or should I be canceling it and then so I could get the Tigers TV package?
I don't think
Rob,
the
drop
AL
us a
Central
line on
Rundown.
what Lee should do.
I don't think the AL Central Rundown should be giving out that consumer advice at this point in time because we don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I
Genuinely,
can
I think that's
assume.
the answer.
I'm letting mine resubscribe. I'm waiting for that email too because at least they'll say your subscription bill will be renewed in 10 days or something. They'll send that email out, and that's what I'm waiting for to see like if it renews or if it's going to be like, hey, go sign up for ESPN Unlimited and go do, go sign that package. But they're going to have to send that out. They will wait a frustratingly long time to do it. But yes, they will send it out.
I guess we'll just have to keep an eye out for that. And then also with this, because both the Pistons and the Red Wings are on FanDuel. So now it looks like both of those teams are going to be staying on FanDuel until the season ends. But then after that, we don't know. And the only negative side of this is that previously Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons were all on FanDuel. But now we might have where you have to get 3 different services in order to watch the 3 teams versus just one. And so that's
Did I see correctly that perhaps the Tigers would produce the Red Wings
that's we
games in the
don't know
future?
100%. But there was a report that said Well, the Tigers and the Red Wings are a package deal because they're both owned by the Ilitch Group. And so if MLB purchases the rights for the Tigers, they also get the Red Wings. So, but we just don't know. So we'll have to wait until right before the hockey season starts next season. But for now, they're staying on FanDuel. And this also kind of sucks because me and my dad just upgraded to the annual subscription for FanDuel so we could watch all 3 sports. And now it's shutting down, and so that's kind of a pain. But yeah, but we just don't know what the Red Wings are going to be doing for next season. But yeah, it looked like there was stuff saying like, yeah, MLB Media would technically have the rights to produce the Red Wings, which is weird. But
which honestly, for hockey, if you're a fan of like, if you're like a hardcore hockey fan, that has to like bruise your sports ego a little bit, right? Like another sport has the TV rights to one of your franchises. It has to be like, ooh, okay, little brother, let Big Brother handle your TV rights deal. I know that's not like what the intention is, but like, if let's just say the NFL had the Twins rights for some reason, I would be like, well, why the frick did that happen? Like, that's crap, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. We're not going to get an answer for months, most likely.
If I'm not mistaken, MLB has a relationship. Like the NHL network is partially produced by MLB as well, in the MLB network. They have a relationship of some sort, if I'm not mistaken. So this isn't entirely without precedent.
I don't know that at all, I guess. Interesting. So, anyway, welcome. Your broadcast. I mean, unless your individual producers for the Tigers or Royals are really bad, this is going to be welcomed. You don't need to worry about a sports book telling you what the odds are for this being a pitch or for this being a strike. You can just watch the game. It'll be silly. They will, like, I don't know, Dan, if the Guardians did this or not, but like the Twins would kind of like experiment in between innings. Like they cut a commercial break. Well, largely it was because I don't think the Twins were able to sell all of their advertisement, like all their advertisements for the entire game. Yeah, weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would just do like a segment in between innings and like a longer segment with like whoever the sideline reporter is or the person on the side of the dugout, and like those could be hit or miss, but those were interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. From what I know, most of like the broadcasters and like Benetti and Dirks and the sideline reporters, it's all hired by the Tigers / Red Wings / Ilitch. So most of that won't change, but we'll see about the production stuff because there were a lot of issues in terms of like technical difficulties propping up with Bally, FanDuel, whatever.
That did early on with the Twins, because literally the opening moment of Twins TV was the promo for Guardians TV.
I remember
So like,
that.
there will be like some clunkiness like the first, but like give them a couple of weeks to figure it out. But like just in general, just not to hear that stupid like their theme every 5 goddamn minutes. That's going to be nice. A welcome change. Now, MLB TV will have their own annoying goddamn theme every 5 minutes, but it's at least a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, I like the MLB theme. It's in comparison, at least, it's fine. It's good.
Yes. I just wish
really good
like,
service.
Can you have like an after inning and then a start of inning, like an intro and an outro, different song? That would be great. Just mix it up once in a while. I don't need to hear the same like 5 notes every 5 minutes. But
God, the thing that's really bugging me right now is I've been watching the Winter Olympics through a Peacock. They play the same 5 fucking ads every 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Why? Look, I have seen that commercial for that dumb movie about the animals or whatever 500 times by now because they seem to play it every.
Speak about Melania.
It's so annoying. Like, yeah, anyway, I don't know why that was.
Does anybody else recall the best ad on television or streaming or whatever is the Baseball Zen commercials? If you know what I'm talking about.
Those are good.
Those are great. Love that. If we could just have that and nothing else.
Yes, I like those because that's when they typically run out of the ads that they've already paid for, and they just need to buy the 22 seconds to get to the game. So yeah, it's Baseballs. I do like those a lot.
For those that don't know, that's just like baseball sounds is what it is. It's MLB produced baseball
like a
sounds.
really
in
zoomed
the commercial
in
break.
portion of the infield, and it'll be like some of the ground crew like raking, and it'll just hear.
Rushing
It's
off
basically baseball ASMR.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly what it is. I will also miss like if it's completely over in ESPN, like they'll have like the mascot races, and those are entertaining, for a first couple of minutes. They do get old after a while after you see.
It's the same one every time. The stupid hat. Which ball is the ball in which hat? It's always the
There's
same.
that one there too.
Make
Yeah.
like three of those so you mix it up a little bit. Jeez.
But yes, I will miss those. But oh well, what do you do? Any other thoughts on the ending of Diamond Sports? Is anyone going to miss them? Anyone else just
Not
feels they got
especially.
what they deserved?
Oh yeah,
get wrecked.
Yeah.
yeah. Like I've said, this whole model has felt outdated for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's should be no surprise to anyone that this is going away.
It's just bumpy getting to the other side. That's all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I think that's it for the news. Now, every couple of years, baseball does the World Baseball Classic, where it's just basically a little baseball Olympics, which is interesting because the actual Olympics baseball plays in, and the winter ones are going on right now. So it's a good time to be, I guess, a I don't know, WBC fan, whatever it is. I forgot what my transition was going to be. Whatever. I was going to try to bring in the Super Bowl because that's in a couple of hours, which is why we're recording a little bit earlier. But yeah, the WBC is this year. We thought it might be worth just going over who's represented, who's more represented than others. Ty did hint at that the White Sox weren't as represented as the other clubs. It's not like the Twins have a lot of alum on their team either, but I thought we would just go in division, or well, we can give our general thoughts on the WBC, and then like we probably just go in division rank from last year's standings and just talk about who's on the teams. Anyone have general thoughts? Does anyone hate the WBC?
I like the WBC. I think it's fun.
I love this event.
The-
I'm somebody who is personally inclined towards international competitions in the first place for whatever reason. World Cups this year, Olympics, FIBA basketball, all of it. Love it. And this being my favorite sport, I love it just that much more. And I think it's a really cool event to showcase the sport across the globe and, hopefully get some other countries interested in it as well as kind of continue to see the inroads we've made in Japan and that kind of thing. So cool all around. Sorry to ramble there for a minute, but I'm very enthusiastic about this event.
I think the
Yeah,
best
that's
part
really
about the WBC is the fact that the players do take it with some degree of seriousness.
Yep.
Where it's not like it's not like the NBA All-Star Game, or they take it a little bit more seriously than spring training. Of course, they're not playing like it's Game 7 of the World Series, but I think the fact that the players do seem to take some pride in this event is part of the reason why it is enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
I think part of that is I think a large part of that is that the crowds like bring that out because you have the Caribbean islands, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela isn't an island, I get it, but like those fans bring energy and then the players feed off of that. So like, and I know like, yes, will I be annoyed hearing those goddamn air horns during whenever a Venezuela Puerto Rico game? Yeah, I'll probably, but I can turn that down. During the big moments, though, like during just a double in the first inning, there will be an audible pop from the audience, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun seeing, and then you get to see all these players who play in the international leagues. You don't just then like non-MLB players. You get to see all the players from Taiwan and Korea and all that, and Japan. It's fun.
It's an opportunity for those guys to play on this stage, which is really cool. Like you could look at that at different levels. Like Taiwan has its own league. It's a decent league. They have, a decent talent level over there. But there's guys over there that are going to get to hit off a Tarik Skubal potentially that
Yep.
never get that opportunity otherwise. You know what I mean? Like Czechia last time. That team is just a bunch of dudes from the Czech Republic who happen to
With,
enjoy
by the way,
playing. I
like,
don't want to say you happen to enjoy playing baseball because they're more talented than that. But like a lot of those guys have day jobs.
well, that's
And
what I
They're
was
they're
going to
playing
say too.
like
Like,
engineers
some are
and
electricians during the day, and now suddenly they're facing, like you said, Tarik Skubal.
and by the way, they were competitive 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Like I'm interested to see how that goes. Like it's just I don't know. Like I said, I really like this event. I'm looking forward to it.
That's fine. I do like it, and I know we talked about this when we are talking about expansion, and I said something like I really don't mind the slot. I kind of like the sloppiness sometimes of like new teams or bad teams. Like there's something to at least make me feel like, like to really appreciate like really good baseball. Sometimes seeing the slop is sometimes fun, just to see, you know, America and then Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic and Japan are like monsters. And then there's like a really big drop off, and then you have like maybe teams that would maybe not do well in Division One college baseball, and I think that's just fun. And they're all playing in the same tournament.
there's a Tigers fan who's from Great Britain. And he's like really pumped because see the U.S. and Britain are in the same pool play, and so it's and so it's a like I don't know why it's like slotted that school will be starting against the UK, and so it's fun because he's also international fans who are not from the US but are still fans of various MLB teams, and then there's this you're rooting for your country now rather than just and like yeah I don't know I think it's really cool because it gets more international eyes on the game, and I think the baseball is a growing international sport outside of just the US.
And also, just how else can we get across these great uniforms? Let's talk about Great Britain for a second. Boy, these are freaking love these jerseys. Like no effort or thought put into these at all.
They
Just
look like someone at 11:55 p.m. was like, "Oh shit, I haven't submitted these."
forgot the jerseys.
Yep. This is big time. It is your birthday today energy.
This is Great Britain.
Don't worry, guys. I think they actually have a different color this year. I think they now have a red alternate in the same thing.
They have their jerseys do look a little bit better this time.
Just because it's not a gray
It's a very
gray
low
jersey
bar.
with black text. But it looks like they still have it too. So I think this is actually the 2026. But yeah, just I love those jerseys. Anytime I have an opportunity to, I should just buy one because I think they're that great. But let's talk about the rosters for a bit. Just because, well, there's two teams that are, well, actually the Royals. There's three teams that are pretty well represented here, so might take a little bit to go. Not that we need to go over them in detail, because, like I said, the talent pool, some are like, yeah, that makes sense, and the others, I'm not kidding you, there's two guys on the Twins, I was like, I don't know who you are, and I'm not even going to look you up, because I don't even think I'm going to see you in the majors. So, Dan, why don't we start off with you, and then I'll pull them up on the screen.
You just want me to go through who's being represented here?
Yep, I have their names up here, so I can pull that along too.
Very
So,
nice. We'll start with Logan. Probably the biggest surprise that you wouldn't expect on this. Logan Allen is going to be representing Panama in the WBC. Uh, for those that maybe aren't as familiar, Logan Allen, one of the Guardians' five, main starting pitchers last year, probably slated to be their number five starter coming into this year. Pitch to contact type of lefty. Basically was league average last year with a 4.25 ERA. I will say he's the only major league starting pitcher on Panama's roster, so I would kind of expect him to be their ace as a team that probably won't make it out of pool play. But getting the opportunity to kind of represent his familial roots for Team Panama in 2026. We'll go next to Travis Bazzana. Bazzana, obviously, Guardians' top prospect, second baseman, first overall pick in the 2024 draft. Looked pretty good at Double-A last year, 790 OPS in 51 games. Spent some time on the injured list. But I was talking earlier about guys getting to face a different array of talent. This is an opportunity for Travis Bazzana to face top level pitching, some lower level pitching. He is representing Australia, so their pool plays against Japan and Korea. He'll get the opportunity to face some of Japan's best pitching, which will be interesting in and of itself. And honestly, might be Australia's best player, at least best position player. They've got some, former and current relief pitching. I believe Liam Hendricks, for example, is on their team, but might be their leadoff man and one of their top guys.
Like he was in their professional league before he was drafted, wasn't he?
He played as a teenager in their professional league, yes, briefly. He didn't have a ton of run over there, but he did play in a handful of games. I think when he was 15, 16, 17 years old.
Okay. And then, yeah, I don't know. Is there anyone on here? We're talking about that SOB in a second, but is there anyone on here other than like Logan Adams? Well, like, is there a guy that you're like, who? Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Would be dramatic pause. Ryan Prager,
Israel.
left-handed pitcher taken in the 9th round in 2025, which is last year's draft. He's 23 years old. He has
that's
two
kind
pro
of fun,
starts.
though.
He has 2 pro starts at single A last year. Pitched 4 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, 3 walks. He'll be representing Israel, and so he might be their number 3 starter. Honestly, looking at their roster, so
I want to see if there's anyone of note on Team Israel.
Tommy
They got a couple
Canley
guys.
from Team Israel,
Tommy
which
Canley, okay. And
Brad Osmus is their manager.
nice.
Yeah.
Harrison Bader,
Yeah, Bader is.
Here we
and
go.
that's it.
Max Laser, Tommy Canley. That's it. Good luck with that. Garrett Stubbs. Oh, these two are brothers, 100%. CJ and Garrett Stubbs.
Oh, Spencer Horwitz.
Yep.
Jake Geloff.
Harrison
He was
Bader.
a Guardian, wasn't he? Geloff?
I think it was Max Geloff.
Okay.
It was a different first name, a different guy.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin Youkilis is the bench coach. Just put a jersey on it. Just go to the plate. I just want to see the batting stance again.
I think Israel got mercy ruled in 2020
Yeah.
23.
I think. Do you think that if you're just Jewish, you can play for Team Israel?
Yeah, that's it. It's
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it like they're? I agree with this, but they're pretty lax on the what your inheritance needs to be to qualify.
Oh
for the
yeah,
league.
they
Like,
are.
as it should be. But like, I do
Yeah,
think
like Team Italy. It's like, oh, your grandparents were Italian. Sure, come on over.
I think
Or-
that is
or-
literally what you can go back to. I think you can like 10% or a distant cousin was a part of it. Basically, just
Great Britain's is the funniest to me. It's if your parents are citizens of a former territory or a colony of Great Britain, then you can play for Great Britain. That's why Jazz Chisholm is playing for Britain.
you know what I like about these. So like you have like professional photos, like for a lot of these guys, MLB hats or just previous. This Dean Kramer, I'm pretty sure, just took this photo in the hallway as they were making like on his way to the
Is it
line.
great? Yeah.
But so yeah, there's Team Italy for you, Sam. All right, let's go back to the Guardians. Anyone else kind of jump off the page for you, or any team you want to look at?
A couple other things I'll mention real quick. Two of the other kind of lower level guys, or one of them at least, Matt Wilkinson, Canada. Was a 10th round pick in 2023, 23-year-old left-handed pitcher. Matt Wilkinson has a bit of a cult following among people that are interested in kind of prospects. In that this dude, he's 6'1", 250. His nickname is Tugboat, and he throws from an odd angle, and he's a finesse pitcher, so he's just a very memorable dude. He's a big dude who is a soft tossing finesse left-hander with an odd delivery. And so he's going to get the opportunity to represent Canada. And he spent the entire season last year at high A, 4.24 ERA and 25 starts. He will come out of the bullpen most likely for Canada. They have enough of a talent level where they don't need a single A guy to start for them. I
Well,
don't expect him to get a ton of run, but I hope he does because um, I don't know that he'll ultimately have the stuff to make the majors someday. But like I said, he's a memorable dude. He's an interesting prospect.
I mean, just looking at him, I don't know why it makes sense, but it totally makes sense. His name is Tugboat. Just looking
Yep,
at him.
he's built like a tugboat, man. Those are the main guys that are kind of off the beaten path that I think are interesting. Do we want to talk about Bo while we're on Canada?
Actually, let's look at Canada as a whole. Do we want to do that now? Actually, we can just do that now. Why not? We're winging this. Let's talk about Canada as a whole because I think they have a really fun team, or at least personalities. But yes,
At what point
So
is this going to be all nailers? Like at some point, the whole starting lineup is just going to be nailers and their second cousins and all that.
Is Miles Naylor
absolutely
on this team?
does not appear to be.
doesn't look like it.
It's a
Next
negative.
time.
Not yet. Not yet is the way I'll answer that. I'll be curious to see. I have to imagine Bo and Liam Hicks will just share time at catcher. I think there's going to be a lot of that in the WBC for every team anyway.
Mhm.
But they're kind of like in my mind of kind of similar level. So uh, we'll kind of see on that. I expect hit like seventh in their order because they do have some legitimate talent here. But
I
uh,
mean, they really don't have a
I guess
bad pitching
side of
staff.
things.
Like Paxton is probably a little bit, long in the tooth. Tyon maybe the same, but like they have names you can at least be like, oh yeah, I know him. Logan Allen. I don't even is he still pitches?
They've
The
also
other
got,
Logan Allen for those that follow the Guardians.
yeah.
Yeah, wasn't very good as a major leaguer. Cal Quantrill, another former Guardian on their roster as well.
I really like Cal
They've also,
Quantrill just because of his trash talk to those. Yeah.
So I like it
scroll up,
because
Eric.
Justin Morneau is the hitting coach, which
Nice.
I thought was pretty awesome. And then also their third base coach is named Stubby Clapp, which cannot be his real name.
Hold on, stay on that Team Canada page real quick, Eric. Scroll up. You'll see AL Central rundown favorite. Keep going up. You'll see AL Central rundown favorite Eric Sarantola is representing Team Canada.
Oh yeah.
The guy who was on the Royals 40-man roster who I had never heard of before.
Nice.
Oh well, yeah. Now he's here too. Funny.
Edouard Julien also representing the French
Saw
Canadians
that
here.
too. He used to be on the Twins as of until 2 weeks ago.
Tigers prospect Trey Cruz was going to play, but he turned it down because he wanted to focus on spring training because he might make the opening day roster. But I was like,
I
oh,
will,
he's Canadian.
that made this pop into my mind. Cade Smith could have been on this roster, elected not to. Eric Sabrowski could have been on this roster, elected not to. The last guy that I have for the Guardians is Matt Festa, who will be representing Italy. Everybody's least favorite reliever for the Guardians. Um, Not very well liked here. Just he's kind of been the bullpen guy that gets kind of beat up in the among the fan base. But solid last year, 4.12 ERA and 63 appearances. I will say Italy maybe not the most uh, talented roster. They do have a decent bullpen with him, Greg Weissert, Ron Marinaccio, Adam Ottavino. They've got some guys. So
So if they can
did
have a
well.
lead, if they can get a lead, they can have a
They could
chance
lock
of
it down.
protecting it.
They could lock down a lead if they get one.
I think that's going to be the problem, though. So, all right, why don't we move on to Detroit? I think actually Kansas City has the most representatives, but Detroit and Kansas, Cleveland were all pretty tied too. But Lee, why don't we talk about the Tigers?
Yeah. So obviously, Tarik Skubal is going to be for the U.S., which is I'm really excited about that because we're going to have both Cy Young winners on Team USA. That's going to be really exciting. Like he doesn't care about the contract. He's a gamer. He's very competitive. So I'm excited about that. I didn't know Kenley Jansen's going to be for Team Netherlands, which is cool. Team Netherlands, I feel like they shouldn't be Team Netherlands. They should be Team Curacao, or however you say that, because that's really all their players. It's really we have a lot for Venezuela actually. We've got Emmanuel de Jesus, which is he's a minor leaguer in like AA. Then Keter Montero, everyone's favorite number 6 pitcher, he's probably one of their better pitchers on that staff actually. And then Gleyber Torres is going to be for playing a second there because Altuve was denied via insurance. But yeah, and then on Venezuela's staff, we got Miggy as a hitting coach. So I think I'm going to be pulling for Venezuela a lot because we got 3 Tigers plus 1 former Tiger, and Victor Martinez as well as assistant manager. So I mean, yeah, lots of Tigers connections to Venezuela there.
I just really like, if you look at Venezuela's infielders, it's a bunch of dudes with no range, and then Andres Jimenez. I shouldn't say that. Mike Kell's on that infield too. I missed him the first time around.
I think Tovar is a decent shortstop for Colorado. I actually kind of like their infield. Yeah, Luis Arraez. Probably.
My eyes went to Torres and Suarez and Arraez right away, and I went, "Oh, this is a bunch of dudes who can't move." And then
the defense difference between their outfield and their infield is very funny because you got Acuna and Abreu and Churio, who are all pretty good defensive outfielders, and then you got Suarez and Torres in the infield there. Just pretty. What does Venezuela's pitching staff look like? Because they got
not bad actually. Pablo Lopez. Alvarado is probably Alvarado is even in the majors anymore, but Marquez used to be good.
Ranger Suarez, that's going to be it.
Eduardo Rodriguez, whatever he has. Old friend Angel Zerpa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Montero pitch for Venezuela, especially because that'll be fun. Because I don't think he doesn't get enough attention elsewise because he's kind of like the number 6, number 7 guy. But on a lot of other teams, he would be their number 4, number 5. So, yeah, I'm going to be pulling for Venezuela a lot, I think, because there's lots of Tigers on there and former Tigers of their coaching staff. So, who have I not mentioned? Hallyu Lee is going to be playing for Taiwan. So that's he's a prospect on their 40-man who could be making an impact on the major league level. Jahmai Jones, which I didn't know was his mom is from South Korea. So he's got a really interesting background. His mom is from Korea, and then his dad was an NFL player. So but yeah, he's a fun guy. I'm excited to have him on the team again next season because he was one of our only productive hitters in the last month of the season. And then also Woo-Suk Go I think he's in AAA. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a great name.
I know. I can't help but being a 7th grader again.
I was hoping we could be mature and.
No, we can't. I'm sure he will be very. Oh, I hope he. I mean, middle school.
Did he grow up in the U.S.?
Right?
Or is he
I don't know. We signed him as a minor league signing, so I'm not sure.
I'm going to be careful how I Google Woo-Suk Go, but let me find.
No, he was. So he played international. I know he was born in.
Okay.
He played in the KBO for a while.
Yes, born in South Korea. Okay. I needed to get that in just for my own immaturity. But yes, anyone else that you're kind of excited about? Do we want to look at USA now?
Before we do that, I want to mention Duke Hebert. I don't know how to say that. I had never heard of him, but then I looked him up, and then I remembered him. He is the guy in 2023 that he struck out Julio, Soto, and I forget who it was, but he struck out 3 players in a game against the Dominican, and then he got signed by the Tigers right after that. So So if you remember that, he's that guy who struck out 3 really good MLB players and then got signed by a team. So I had kind of forgotten about him, but then I looked him up and was like, oh yeah, so he's gonna be playing for Nicaragua, which is that's pretty much all the players that I actually know because I didn't I did not know Carlos the Clerica before yesterday.
And you'll probably not even notice him on the Italy team. Like, I bet if you just see him playing, you won't even recognize. Oh yeah, he's with the Tigers.
Probably not. He's like a 25-year-old in high A. So.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, the Royals have a lot.
The Royals have a lot. Yeah. So first and foremost, we're going to see a lot of content with Jack Caglione and Vinny Pasquantino on Team Italy.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of social media posts about those two on Team Italy. So just be prepared for that.
Great.
So I think that'll be fun. Carlos Estevez, pitching for Dominican Republic. He was leader in saves in MLB last year for the Royals, so he's on there for Venezuela. Michael Garcia and Salvador Perez, of course, also representing. Sorry, Carlos Estevez is Dominican Republic. Then Michael Garcia and Salvador Perez representing Venezuela. So those two will be on the team there. Then, of course, you have the Puerto Rican Seth Lugo strikes again,
That can't
pitching
be a real
for
nickname.
the Puerto Rican. Yeah, that's what people call him. He's got one Puerto Rican grandparent, so he's pitching for Team Puerto Rico. Seth Lugo is there, and then obviously you got Bobby Witt Jr., Team USA. Michael Wacha, also kind of a last-minute announcement that Wacha would be pitching for Team USA. I'm going to assume that someone who was supposed to pitch for Team USA dropped out, and Michael Wacha was the next man up. But that'll be good to see him. And then, I think that's, of course, we mentioned the great Eric Sarantola playing for Team Canada. But a lot of good representation here for the Royals in the WBC.
Yeah, I did not picture. I mean, I would assume the Guardians of the Tigers had the most representative, but it's Cleveland, and I don't think it's by a lot, or I don't think it's really that particularly close. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They can load a least position side of a roster. So yeah, that's exciting.
And there are some guys I will say. Abraham Toro he's a decent prospect, but like Oscar Rayo, I've never heard of him. Eli Morgan, I don't think I've ever heard of him. Omar Hernandez, I don't think I've ever heard of him. So there are a couple of decent-ish guys, but there's also several players who I have just never even heard of before. So
Eli Morgan may end up contributing to the Royals this year. He was on the Guardians bullpen in 2024 and was
is that right?
really good. Great changeup. Got traded to the Cubs last year and was hurt basically all year. So that might be somebody you might want to look out for, Sam. He's a decent arm.
Okay, sounds good. And then, of course, we'll have old friend MJ Melendez representing Puerto Rico as well.
And he will probably have the time of his life. Like, he will probably just, like, break out and get signed on with somewhere. Has he signed on with anyone yet, or is he still a free agent?
I think so. I think he's still a free agent.
I think he is, too.
Let me look him up.
I think this might be MJ's last hurrah.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. Well, we can switch over to Minnesota in a bit, but Christian Vasquez is on Puerto Rico, and I was going to basically say the same thing. Is I think this might be the last time we hear from Christian.
Oh my gosh, guys, breaking news. 34 minutes ago, the Mets signed MJ Melendez.
Well, they knew how big of a tournament he's going to have.
Uh-huh. And it's a 1-year deal. And it is a $1.5 million contract.
It's a major league contract?
They give him $1.5 million?
It is a major league contract.
No effing way.
That's a robbery.
It includes $500,000 in incentives.
So I have
Damn.
one very
And
important question.
let me explain this real quick to anyone who's wondering. MJ Melendez damn near set the minor league home run record back in like 2021, so that's why this happened. He's still coasting off of that.
Oof. It's either that or he has some very crude pictures of very important people in the Mets front office. Because I don't know why you would like. I understand a minor league deal, but a major league deal,
For
That's
1.5,
questionable at best.
that's okay, sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure. I want to know what I can't remember what the exact number was, but I think it was, yeah, 2021. He hit 41 home runs between Double A and Triple A in a single season. I think that's close to being a minor league record. So that is why he is getting a major league deal.
That's just poor money. I mean, you can question how the Mets spent money, but like, and good, honestly, good for MJ Melendez. This might be your last MLB paycheck, or MLB Major League Baseball paycheck. But
Watch him hit 40 home runs for the Mets next
what
year.
if?
He's
What
he's a bench piece, I'm gonna assume.
You know, not for nothing. Melendez, Lindor, Polanco, who's a Tiger. Wasn't there a notable Tiger on the Mets too? I can't think of. Anyway, they have a collection now for the White Sox. Luis Robert.
Robert.
They're collecting former, at least like discarded Central players, which whatever, good for them, I guess. So, all right, let's move on to the Twins, and specifically, we'll talk about the Twins, but we'll talk probably more about Team USA because there's not many of them. We've already talked about the White Sox, but they're listed on the screen as well. Dan Adavila is a minor league signing for Italy. I'm pretty sure there's someone from Italy on all of from every Central team. So I guess that's if there's a team we can collectively go for, maybe that's it. But Matt Bowman just signed a minor league deal with the Twins. He's playing for Israel. Taj Bradley is pitching for Mexico. He was just traded from the Rays this past trade deadline, and then Pablo for Venezuela. He's kind of their staple. I think he'll be their number one starter. And then Luis Quintones, who I am not familiar with. I'm also going to guess he's probably just a random prospect that might get to the majors one day. But the two names that really matter are Byron Buxton and Joe Lopez. Oh, sorry, Joe Lopez. That'd be a hell of a pitcher. Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton are going to be playing for Team USA. And that's our segue just to go talk about Team USA because they have a really nice starting rotation. When you have Skeens, Skubal, and then Joe Ryan is your third pitcher, it doesn't get much better than that. Then you have
it's going to be very cool.
Yes. Then you're going to have, Mason Miller is closing out, David Bednar, Griffin Jacks. They have a rotation. And even, going to the position players, Cal Raleigh just had an MVP caliber season. Alex Bregman's on the downswing, but he's certainly still dangerous. Bobby Witt, Bryce Harper in the I still think of Bryce Harper as an outfielder. So I was a bit confused on which one I was looking at. But I do want to look at the outfield because this is a really fun group. Aaron Judge, Pete Crow Armstrong, Corbin Carroll, and Byron Buxton. Judge isn't necessarily known for his speed, but he's not particularly slow either. It'll be interesting to see where Buxton is going to play. I guess they could platoon, but Pete Crow Armstrong is probably the best defensive center fielder in baseball right now. So I'm going to guess he plays center. And then where does that put Buxton if they put him in left or right? Either way, that's going to be a real fun outfield to watch. And then I don't know who's sitting in that group. It's probably Buxton would be my guess. Probably because of the injuries or he's probably, is he the oldest? If not, he might be. Yeah, and then you have Kyle Schwarber as the DH, so on and so forth. Anyone else you want to point out for Team USA?
I want to mention George Lombard is their first base coach. He's the Tigers bench coach.
All right.
I just want to acknowledge that, the if there was a weakness to the Team USA teams of the past, it was that they really struggled to get starting pitching interested in performing and participating in this tournament. And man, did that change. And I feel like that started to swing last time around with the position players, when you started to see guys like Mike Trout and so on participate. And it's good to see. It took some time, and I think some of the other international teams did a better job of embracing this tournament early on, but it's really been embraced by the American players now. And um, I don't know. I think it's good for the tournament. I think it's good for the sport, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Logan Webb is going to be their 4-starter.
Matthew Boyd is going to be their number 5.
Yeah, and they're not going to need it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just loaded. I mean, it'll be interesting to see like where the pitch innings, like what their restrictions will be. Also, you know what might be really fun, and I don't know if they'll do this, but like, let's just say USA gets to the championship game. If the innings line up, like, do you have Skeens and then Skubal piggyback off of each other? Because that would be really fun to watch both of them in the same game.
Well, the thing is, it's there's also because you got the pool play game, so it'd be like 1, 2, 3, and then you got the quarterfinals, the semis, and the finals. Do you hold off on using Skubal and Skeens until the finals or semifinals, or do you use them in the quarterfinals? So
It's not that deep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can just like, if they're playing, sorry, Italy. If they're playing Italy, maybe like that's where, okay, Terry.
That's when Michael Walker pitches.
I was about to say, like, don't bring your glove. You're not going to be needed for this series. But yeah, as you get more serious, you get to the Venezuelas or the Dominican Republic. Maybe that's when they do it. Also, we did fail to notice Clayton Kershaw is on Team USA too. So I'm going to guess he pitches over Waka and Webb, but who knows? He might also just get a random relief outing once in a while. Who knows?
You do have to cover the innings. Just because somebody's a starter doesn't necessarily mean they're going to start the game too. This the way this works with the pitch restrictions and all that. The pitch counts used to bother me when this tournament in earlier iterations, but in Major League Baseball now, guys don't pitch that deep into games anymore. So I can kind of suspend my belief better than I used to that, that you would not have your best pitchers pitching deep anyway.
I think with Team USA, one of the big things is like when they won the WBC back in 2017, it was largely because they assembled a team that wanted to win. Mm-hmm. And even that team was not as loaded as this team is. Because like Eric Hosmer was the captain of that team, if I remember correctly. So I think it's like my comment about seriousness earlier. I think kind of how seriously Team USA takes this will determine whether or not they're winning the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, just how do you have, just picturing this lineup, you're probably putting Judge 3, Raleigh 4, Witt 1, Harper 2. Crow Armstrong's probably 9th. I mean, either way, like, these are good problems to have. Yeah. But like, I'm just trying to like plot out the lineup. Like, I could make an argument for Buxton maybe going 1 just because of speed, but he doesn't walk that much. Maybe Corbin or maybe Carroll goes for leadoff. I think Crow Armstrong might be the weakest hitter, but I think that's still a pretty high bar.
By the way, Eric, I just looked this up. You were talking about the ages of everyone in the outfield. Did you know that Judge is older than Buxton?
I think they were drafted in the same draft.
Were they?
Did Judge debut later than Buxton?
Judge debuted. He was older when he debuted because I think his breakout season, Judge was like 25.
Something like that. Buxton came up young, too.
Yeah, Buxton came up young. Judge is only 2 years younger than Salvi.
It's unbelievable how good he's been too. Like I wouldn't have ever thought someone with his body type. Also, I could also see his body type just being nothing. Like it's just going to be like flipping a switch. He's going to be nothing. Now, it doesn't look like that's anytime soon. So maybe I'm wish casting a little bit, but
He's 33,
yeah,
judges, so he's getting up there.
yep. So all right. Well, I think unless anybody has any last minute thoughts on the WBC, I think we can probably wrap that up. But any other closing thoughts that we have just for the week? Anything we didn't touch on? We're under an hour and a half, guys. We finally found a couple subjects that can cake us and talk for less than an hour and a half. We did it.
Yeah.
Do we want to
I
talk
was
about the
gonna-
insurance stuff for WBC and Team Puerto Rico especially?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
No, because there's a bunch of players who haven't been able to get insurance to be able to participate in the WBC, which basically means they won't be able to get paid if they get injured in the WBC. They won't get paid for the major league season. There's just a lot of players that have been denied insurance, like Carlos Correa, especially on Team Puerto Rico. Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor. Wasn't Jose Ramirez, didn't he have something as well?
I haven't looked into that too deeply, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
Like Jose Altuve. There's just a whole bunch of players who can't participate, and especially on Team Puerto Rico, which kind of really sucks. It's
Right.
just it's a lot less of an exciting team when you don't have Lindor and Correa and Javi on that team. Javi, I do want to shout out Javi because he can't participate on Team Puerto Rico because he smoked weed 3 years ago,
Yeah.
which is incredibly stupid. But I
That you
can't
would get
imagine
suspended for it, or that what stupid that he got suspended for it, or stupid that he was
stupid
caught.
that he got suspended for it. He spent half the year in the best state for marijuana, and but yeah, no, Michigan has a large cannabis industry, and it's the cheapest here because
That explains a lot.
yeah, there's I've read a bunch of stuff about how like 50% of more than half of MLB players occasionally have an edible or smoke a little weed. But like, it
that's
was
much higher.
tested positive during 2023, and it was a ban that goes until April of 2026. And so it's so stupid. It's incredibly dumb. Like he should be allowed to play. Who cares if he smokes some weed? Let a man have hobbies.
I do have some thoughts on the insurance portion of this. I've spoken glowingly of this tournament over the course of the last half hour or so, and I stand by that. But it doesn't sit well with me that insurance would keep some of the best players out of this tournament and out of this showcase. And this is the MLB's brainchild. This is something they wanted. This is something they want to do in order to promote the sport across the world. And I'm all for that. I think that's fantastic. You can't have it both ways, though, because from what I understand, and I don't know how to divide what's a rumor and what's a fact necessarily, but I don't know if you guys saw very topical. The singer Bad Bunny was willing to pay the insurance for some of these Puerto Rican players to be able to play.
Not willing. He was. The previous WBCs, he was given permission to pay for Baez and them to actually play.
So presumably it was then the teams who stepped in and didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, that's what
MLB and the ownership that makes up the MLB. You're either comfortable having the showcase of your players or you're not. I find that to allow it for certain players but not others makes no sense to me. I understand there's higher risk involved with certain guys than others, but it really feels like you're putting your thumb on the scale, or that you just not willing to assume the risk that's involved with holding this event. To me, it's got to be one or the other, particularly when somebody else was willing to take the financial burden off your hands anyway.
Right.
I find that frustrating. I find that disappointing. It's not going to keep me from trying to enjoy this event, but it just doesn't sit well with me. Like, either you're whole hog in or you're not. Like, pick one or not. And if they decided they didn't want to have this tournament moving forward because of the inherent risk, wouldn't be happy about it, but I logically understand it. I logically understand that a lot better than, well, we're going to have it, but this guy and maybe this guy can't participate.
Yeah, and like there's also a whole bunch of stuff now about how certain teams are impacted greater than others. Like Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico are impacted a lot. How was look? I hate to keep dunking on him. How on earth was Byron Buxton insured, but Francisco Lindor wasn't? Like, I'm sorry. How like what are the
That's a valid
rules?
question.
Well, it's not only. I would argue Buxton is now healthy for the first time in his career, but that I get that's not your point that you're trying to make. But you either because like Edwin Diaz is allowed to pitch. 2 years. What happened the last time they had this WBC?
Yeah, he was the reason that a lot of people are hesitant about participating because you get injuries.
Right. So like either like Dan is saying, pick a lane. You're either going to allow players to play, or just have some. You can't be on the 40-man roster if you're that worried about it. Like put a rule in that's going to take the bigger players off the market because for Puerto Rico to lose like Correa and Lindor and two or three like people that are going to make them competitive in this tournament, that just like you're not like specifically doing that for Puerto Rico, but you're actively hurting that team and like the fans in Puerto Rico do care about this tournament.
Yeah, like Lindor and Javi are two of the most fun players to watch on that Puerto Rican team, and now it's just it's kind of disappointing.
Right. So
If I was Puerto Rican, or if I had reason to be a fan of Puerto Rico, whether it's from there, I would feel like we just got robbed of our chance to win this tournament.
right.
Like that's and why us? Why were we picked on?
That's
You know,
well, and I think like that's been I don't even want to say like heavily implied, but like there is a twinge of like, why does this only seem to affect Puerto Rico? Because that really does seem like it's only affected one team. So like, why that team? Now maybe it's a bunch of coincidences that just happened, and I understand Correa. I mean, everyone knows from the offseason where he got signed 3 times by 3 separate teams because of his medicals. Like, I get why Correa. I get like Altuve. Like these are older players. I think Lindor was injured a part. Whatever.
He had like a cleanup procedure on his arm or something.
Right.
But
I don't have a great
yeah.
answer for it, to be honest with you, because like I'm willing to believe it was the insurance companies that made the decisions, but like insurance companies make a lot of decisions for our lives every day. Why does it need to affect baseball now?
FIFA isn't a harbinger of great things overall. Like I'm not trying to put them on a pedestal, but FIFA, oh, there are a lot of expensive soccer players out there, and not a single one of them doesn't get to participate in the World Cup if they want to, because FIFA backs like I believe FIFA insures the contracts themselves, and I'm not saying MLB has to do it that way necessarily, but like there's little excuse here that you can't find a way to make this work. Other entities out there have made it work before.
All right. So I think Sam, it looks like Sam's internet, who has been spotty. Those who've on YouTube have wondered, he's dropped out a couple of times and popped back on. But I think that'll probably do it for tonight. Next time we talk, pitchers and catchers will be reporting. We should probably start talking about like what the off season looks like, what this next coming season is going to be, because it's only like 6 weeks away. So we have to get through the Super Bowl. For those who are watching that, you're probably not listening to this right now because I'm assuming there's some type of pre-show going on right now. But thank you for all who's listening, and baseball's back next week. It's a good time of year. See you guys next week.